everybody. I'm Karen Hartglass. Thanks for tuning in to It's All About Food. It's May, the lusty month of May. That lovely month when everyone goes blissfully astray. Sorry, I can't help myself. It's May 1st, and it's May. And I like to sing, and it is lusty. We're going to be talking about a lot of lusty things. I looked up the definition of lusty. Lusty means, in an archaic form, merry and joyous, but it also means healthy and robust and strong and energetic, like a lusty stew, because it's all about food. And we're going to be talking about a lot of lusty food today in a moment when I introduce my guests. But I just wanted to say hi because I've missed the last 2 weeks. I've missed you. And I've been away in the jungle of Costa Rica, and now I'm back. And a lot of wonderful things happened there. I turned 60. Woo! Woo! And it was just amazing to be there. There's so much energy in the natural parts of Costa Rica where there are the bees and the bugs and the bats and the monkeys and the pasote and the toucans and all of the wonderful things that you just see hanging around. It's very inspirational. If you want to know more about what went on during my trip, you can read my daily blog, What Vegans Eat. And I invite you to check out especially my birthday, which was day 1167. There are some fun videos there that you might enjoy. Okay, now, very, very exciting. Not only is it May, the lusty month of May, May 1st, but it is the release date here in the United States of a wonderful, gorgeous, lusty new book called BOSH. Simple recipes, amazing food, all plants, and guess what? We have the authors of this cookbook and the founders of BOSH TV right here in the Progressive Radio Network studio, coming from East London, of all places. Wait till you hear them. They're adorable. Henry Firth and Ian Thiesby. They met in school at the age of 11 and live and work together at their BOSH studio in East London. In June 2016, that's less than 2 years ago, they posted their first ever recipe online. A year later, and they are the founders of the largest plant-based video channel on Facebook, reaching 50 million people a month. Everything they cook is plant-based. Woo!
Hey.
Henry and Ian.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I just love being here with you. There's so much energy in this room.
I love that. I love that intro. That was so nice.
That was really, really
Thanks
nice.
for having us.
I like the singing as well. I can't believe it's May already.
I know, it's me!
I know, it's unbelievable.
The sun is out. Costa Rica must have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, I have, I don't know how to describe it, but the first time I was invited to speak at a raw food conference, and when the airplane landed, I felt something. And I have a special connection to Costa Rica. I ended up buying 40 acres of jungle property. It doesn't have anything on it.
Wow. Right.
And
Can we come?
Sure. And I've camped on it alone. Not in a while, though. And I think about maybe building something small. But right now I think about it just as, like a sanctuary for the bees and the bugs. I'm not doing anything with
idyllic.
Wow, that's
but
fantastic.
But it's very remote.
I'd love to be able to say I have. You sound like a Bond villain, James Bond. Like I have 40 acres of
Costa Rican jungle.
But I really have a connection, and this. Okay, we're on the subject. I used to camp in this certain area on the property, and there were these two trees. They call them guava trees in Spanish, but they're not guava.
Mm-hmm.
They're guayaba.
Okay.
Or the ice cream bean tree.
The ice cream bean.
And
wow.
One of those trees, we had a thing. This tree talked to me.
Whoa.
Yeah. And that tree has since died. I get a little choked up when I talk about this tree because I really felt something.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not a tree hugger. Okay?
What was the backstory when the tree spoke to you?
Well, the most intense time, and you're just asking the right questions, and I'm the interviewer here. So I had mentioned I had advanced ovarian cancer in 2006, and when I came to visit my property after my 15 months of treatment, I'm going to get choked up here, but the tree said, "I love you."
Oh, that's
wow.
Real nice.
Okay.
That's
I wasn't
deep.
expecting anything. I just felt it and heard it. Okay. So Karen's wacky.
We definitely
We're all a bit
need to go to Costa Rica
Yeah.
and go and stay in the jungle
Absolutely.
and cook some food.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
big
definitely.
party.
Let's
Big
do
party.
it.
Let's do it. Okay,
We're in.
you heard it.
We're
Woo!
in.
We're gonna be
Okay, let's
great.
do it. So many questions, and you were just on the Today Show. I don't know what they asked you there, but let's just talk about that. What did they ask you on the Today
they
Show?
didn't ask us anything. We had 3 minutes to cook 3 recipes with Megyn Kelly. So it was live studio audience in front of us and behind us. 3 dishes from the book where we made make-ahead sauces because it was Make-Ahead
Sure.
Monday. And it was a whirlwind of activity.
And they tasted everything, and they went, "Oh, it's so good."
Yeah, it was a really odd experience for us both. We sort of got there to the NBC building at the Rockefeller Center, and we went in there, got briefed, had a little look at the studio, and there's nobody in there, not a soul to be seen. And then we went to our little dressing room, really, really small, got our makeup done and stuff.
I was going
And
to
then-
say, did they do your hair and makeup?
Yeah, they
Oh,
did
yeah.
all that. And then the wardrobe came, and Henry and I only wear black T-shirts, and the wardrobe lady came, and she was like, "I think you guys are probably going to be okay." And we're like, "Yeah, this is us."
This is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
And the next time we walked into that studio, there was just loads and loads of people, and all of it, and food that we had sort of helped prepare behind, laid out on a table, and it was a really fantastic experience.
Also, Megyn Kelly gave away a copy of our brand new cookbook to every single
wow.
person in the audience, and they all cheered. There
They
was this
certainly
like
did.
unanimous cheer, which was amazing.
Yeah.
It is actually the video of it is online, so
Yeah.
you can see it if you go hunting for it.
Okay, I don't know how many people are familiar with BOSH TV, but they make lots of wonderful, these overhead videos that take a minute or two. They're very popular on social media, and they're beautiful.
Thank you.
So, this vegan thing has been going on a long time. I'm vegan for 30 years.
Yeah, you're
I
old
can't believe
school.
this is my.
Yeah.
I
No,
am
that's
old
good.
school. I've
Old
been
school is-
vegan for 30 years.
That's a cool phrase. Old school is definitely a cool thing to be.
Innovator,
But
trendsetter.
I've seen the progression of videos on YouTube and other places, and I've actually been surprised because some people have gained some notoriety as vegan chefs, vegan cooks with some pretty crappy videos.
Yeah.
And I go and I look at them from time to time. And I'm like, what is it?
Yeah.
But you, I mean, it's a whole nother story. This is one gorgeous class act. Everything is just beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You really put the quality into your videos, what you're doing.
Well, you know what? That's so nice to hear. We do put a lot of time and effort into making it look as beautiful as we can because, most importantly, we're representing vegan food, plant-based food, just plants to the world, and it needs to look better. And the other thing is we're competing with things like cheese, like melty cheese pulls, or for someone who likes meat, a juicy steak being ripped open, and we've got plants, so we have to be a bit more creative, and that's why we put so much time and effort in.
And social media is a funny place as well because you only have like a really small amount of time to get people's attention. So if we want to grab their attention, the opening few seconds are really, really key. So we always put like the best bit of the video right at the beginning. And
So true.
Yeah, we do spend an awful lot of time like really making the videos as good as we humanly possible.
These short videos, I'm old school, okay? So I like watching how things are made and taking my time, whatever. But I realize that in today's world, everything is the soundbite, and people are just scrolling, like you said,
Yeah.
that you want to grab their attention. But things need to be quick.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that maybe it's an illusion, too, because I want to help people get back in the kitchen and cook. But most people complain it takes too long, and they want things to be quick. And these short videos kind of make it look like it's quick.
That's so true because actually
But it's
the
not
60-second video will actually take you 20 minutes to cook. I think the really great way of describing it is imagine that somebody they're looking at it with one eye. They're looking at their phone with one eye and one thumb while their attention is on something else. And that's what we're competing with. It's whether it's kids on the bus or, someone doing the shopping and like looking at a video while paying the guy behind the till. You have to imagine you're competing with all of that stuff. So it's really important to make something engaging that catches their eye in 5 seconds and just looks high color, high gloss, high sex. And then they get into the kitchen and it's going to take them 20 minutes, but then they love it and they cook something fantastic and it's plant-based.
Well, you know what? I think it's going to take a lot of them more than 20 minutes. And I'll tell you
Some
why.
of them maybe, yeah. It depends which one.
It depends on how skilled you are.
Yeah.
Because I can do something in 20 minutes. And, I have some friends that when we cook together and I watch them painfully, slowly chopping, and I'm okay, how much? I can do that in 2 seconds. Some people are slow.
Yeah, that's true. Basic home economic skills seem to be lacking in today's world, which is a real shame. I think it's a problem that stems from education system. I think there's there's not enough emphasis on the importance of good quality home cooking, and something as simple as just being able to use a knife and use it proficiently is overlooked as a skill nowadays.
Did you take home ec in school?
Did you?
Did. Yeah, I did, yeah.
I don't think I did. I think I might have messed around doing bread and butter pudding.
Yeah.
What did you learn in home ec?
Well, I'll be honest with you. If I did home economics all the way up until GCSE, which in the UK you finished at 15 years old, so that was like 18 years ago, and if my home economics teacher could see me now, like being a professional online chef, she would be like, "This is wow! I can't believe it."
They wouldn't believe it.
Yeah,
would
they just wouldn't believe it at all. But yeah.
Well, I took home ec a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we learned how to make pound cake.
Yeah.
And it was the stupidest thing.
What's a
Wasn't
pound
it?
cake? I don't know.
What is a pound cake?
Yeah, we don't know.
It's like a pound of flour, a pound of butter, a pound of sugar, something like that. And you mix
Nice.
it up and
Okay.
it makes a cake.
Excellent.
I don't know if it's a pound of sugar, but it's like a pound, a pound, a pound.
Yeah, it's a nice little ratio.
And it's a buttery yellow cake.
Nice.
Well, for us, we were definitely we've been home taught. My mum taught me how to cook. Ian's mum taught him how to cook.
Yep.
And we've just always had a passion for food and creativity and also media. And I think where we are is at a very exciting intersection of those three things. The fact that we're not professionally trained, that we're not like, that kind of badass chef that spent 10 years in incredibly grueling kitchen jobs, I think is actually quite helpful for our audience because it makes us think about the common person and simple food and what they actually want to cook, It's not that fancy. We don't use fancy ingredients. It's supposed to be easy.
It is. I've been doing it for so long that it's easy for me. And when people say it's hard, it's always hard for me to understand what's so hard about it.
Yeah.
It's easy. Okay, you met at 11.
We certainly did.
And then what's the story about this vegan thing?
Henry and I met when we were 11 years old at our high school on the first day, and both of us kind of built a friendship together throughout the course of our schooling years and when the schooling years came to an end. But neither of us went to university or college, and we kind of went our separate ways, and we both trod very different paths when it comes to career. I kind of did fashion, where I was doing first retail and then worked into buying, and it was fun, but it kind of doesn't have the soul. I was always craving something more. And then Henry will tell you he went into the digital world.
Yeah, I was making websites for people. So for me, it was always about the internet, technology. I remember Face Party and then Google and then MySpace and then Facebook, and I was building websites all through that, self-taught, but always a passionate cook and always very creative. I loved music as well, and I think we came together in a job about 6 years ago. So we were friends and flatmates, and we started working together on this startup. But again, as Ian said before, there was something lacking from that job as well. It was something we believed in, but it wasn't doing good in the world. And at some point about 3 years ago, there was just this realization in my brain of stuff's broken in the world. Specifically, climate change is broken. And surely we as a human race are better than this. Surely we as a human race can fix things. We're not that stupid. And why isn't more being done to reduce climate change?
Yeah. And I suppose at that point, there wasn't any sort of direct thing to go and pursue. Was it
No, there was a natural break point after that business because it was in the process of being sold.
Yeah, exactly. So Henry, like you said, had a desire to sort of use his career to improve where we are environmentally, but there wasn't an obvious sort of path to walk down. And then that's when vegan came into both of our lives. I kind of fell upon it. like I was in the middle of a New Year's resolution to give up alcohol for the first 3 months of 2015, and 1 month into that abstinence from alcohol, I found it really easy and decided that I'd up the ante and give up meat, and found it quite difficult.
Now, why would you do that?
Well, because I was
It's
like,
a challenge, right?
Yeah, a challenge needs to be exactly that, a challenge. And if I'm finding something really easy, it doesn't feel like a challenge.
But
So
did you think that meat maybe wasn't the best thing
Well,
to
meat,
eat, or
because
what?
I looked at my diet at the time, and I was like, okay, I could give up chocolate because that's the sort of thing that people would give up, but I don't really eat
It's
that much
kind of like
chocolate.
Lent, right?
Yeah.
You were in a Lent vibe.
Yeah, that's kind of that kind of mentality where I thought it's easier to give something up than rather than to start something. So rather than saying, "Oh, I'm going to jog like 10 miles a day," I was like, "Oh, now I'll give up something that's quite prevalent in my diet." And I took a step back and looked at my diet, and meat was just there. It was there, and for three meals a day, more or less. So I decided that I'd give up meat. And found it really difficult. Started doing reading about vegetarianism and the good things about it, and the good things about the environment and stuff that comes with it. And by the end of the month of February of 2015, I decided I'm just going to try this vegan thing and give it a whirl.
By the way, we were living together at this point as well, and I think we were living with my ex-girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And Ian was on he was cooking these curries, and I remember looking at them and just being like, nah, mate. I was a full meat eater, right? I loved meat. I had a personal trainer who had me on meat at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember mocking Ian and thinking how ridiculous it was that he'd taken his health kick to vegetarian and then vegan, and just being like, dude, what are you on about? This looks so much tastier what I'm eating than what you're eating over there. And I asked him questions like, where do you get your protein from? Or, it's not going to save the world,
We're programmed to ask those
Yeah,
questions.
exactly.
It's weird, isn't it? And then at one point, about 6 weeks in, I was thinking about this climate change stuff and thinking, what can I do in climate change? How can I help that thing? And we put on Cowspiracy on the big screen. And that was, for me, the turning point. And overnight, after watching that, I just knew I had to go vegan. And before long after that, it became apparent that this was obviously the place to apply our skills to help the world do what we'd just done.
Yeah.
Whether they did it completely or whether they did it a bit, and just help them across that journey that we'd gone through.
Don't forget how you felt before.
Yes, exactly.
Don't forget.
You're so right.
Yeah. The
Because-
wool
Like, write it
firmly
down.
over the eyes. Yeah.
Well, we kind of think about it all the time, don't we?
Yeah. What the
Just the feeling of eating meat and how we felt about eating meat. I think one of the things that's really helped us with this book and with our channel and with our approach is the fact that we are quite targeted towards meat eaters. And there's a lot of people that say that, but I think we really, really are to our core, to the point that we don't talk about the vegan word on the front cover of the book even. Of course it's vegan. We're not ashamed to be vegan, but we also are much more about showing delicious food rather than delicious vegan food.
Now, when you were looking at his curry and
Yes.
thinking that your meat looked better,
Yeah.
do you remember
Yes.
what it was that looked better to
I mean,
you?
his curry was fantastic. He's a great chef. And so the curry would have been great. Now I'd be absolutely delighted to eat that curry. But I remember that it's that thing when you say to a proper hardcore meat eater, oh, we're going to a vegan restaurant. And they're like, ugh. They turn their nose up and they're like, why would I eat vegan food? I'm not vegan. Without thinking about the fact that a significant amount of the food you eat is vegan.
Yeah.
So I think it was just, more the word vegan rather than anything else.
Oh, it's just fascinating what we learn about ourselves.
Yeah.
That's true.
And how we just assume things without thinking.
And I suppose it's also like what we're not taught, that's the wrong word, but like what we're exposed
We're
to.
programmed.
What you're
Yeah, I
used
mean,
to,
if you
yeah.
think about how many times you walk down the street and you'll see an advert for a burger or some ribs or some chicken, and you've seen that ever since you can recognise what things are on a screen or on a billboard, and you see it like literally hundreds of thousands of times, and it just sort of beds into your mind that this is what you're supposed to be tasty. So to break away from that, it's quite difficult.
And you're looking for it to round off a meal. So I will have been looking at his curry. I'm just getting into the mindset of me 3 years ago now. I will have been looking at his curry, and the sauce will have been delicious. The ingredients would have been the same, bar one. So there would have been onion, there would have been garlic, there would have been probably coconut milk and spices. And it's just that extra tiny bit of flesh that I was looking for to make it a proper meal. But then in going vegan, you have that realization that you don't need that.
Yeah. And actually, any foodie worth their salt should really relish the opportunity to adopt a vegan diet, because what you're doing is you're taking away that sort of mainstay of a plate, and you have to focus on the accompanying things that would usually sort of accompany the meat. So you have to focus your efforts on the things you wouldn't usually focus your efforts on, which for me, I just see it as like a challenge, and you get the real feeling of reward when you cook something up, and it's like super, super tasty.
This might sound a little bit out there as a comparison, but if you think about the design of a garden in the United Kingdom or American versus the design of a garden in Japan, okay? So in the United Kingdom or America, your garden would be focused around one thing. So you're going to have like a water feature in the middle, or maybe a big circle, and around it you'll have things going on. Whereas in Japan, they have no center to their gardens, and in fact you're supposed to get a different viewpoint wherever you walk around the garden. It's more immersive, and it's more about the experience of you in relation to that garden.
And the feeling.
And I think we traditionally look for meat or fish to be the centerpiece of our meal, and once you drop that and it's more about plant-based food and you're eating vegan food, you have to just be a little bit more like floating around a Japanese garden and play with flavors and play with ingredients, because there may not be a center.
Okay, what does BOSH mean? What does BOSH mean?
Well,
good question.
It is a good question. So, like, our philosophy is...
And it's BOSH, exclamation point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bish, bash, bosh. It's quick, it's easy, it's get it done, now. It's no messing around. It's just, really good food. Bish, bash, bosh.
So it's the end of bish, bash, bosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that a British thing?
It's probably more of a
Bish,
British
bash,
thing.
bosh.
Yeah, it's an exclamation that was made popular by some chefs. Jamie Oliver used to say it. Joe Wicks used to say it. He's a sports guy and a chef, or a cook, I'd say, probably.
Yeah.
But also it's just become synonymous with done, easy, in a pan, simple. Bosh.
Was it obvious that that's what you wanted to be, or were you sitting around like, what are we going to call ourselves?
We had that moment, yeah. There was we had what we call a name storm, when you're sat down just throwing names on the whiteboard, and there were some terrible names that came out. But BOSH, when it came out, it just made sense.
Yeah, it was jumping off the board. There was other things like V Tasty TV, and
which is terrible.
Yeah, there was I think we've probably got that somewhere. That like a picture of it.
I have the domain name.
Yeah, we should probably dig that out. But the word BOSH. I mean, it definitely jumped off the page because it's the word BOSH.
Just made sense.
Yeah.
50 million viewers about every month.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I know, it's fantastic.
And how many vegans are there in the world? I don't think we're all watching your channel.
No, loads of them are not vegan. We have
which is wonderful.
a massive percentage of our viewers and now the readers of our book are not vegan. So they'll be flexitarian, or they just like food. Some people will follow our channel and still not even know that it's vegan, because it's not something we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's great that we're having that impact, and the most beautiful thing is when people send you pictures, and we get a lot of pictures where people have cooked our food, they tag us in it, and it means they're sharing delicious veggies with the world.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, how much do you film to make a 2-minute video?
Well, I suppose it depends on the recipe, but for a good example, recently we released a dish called Indian style pasta, which is something that we do quite regularly, where you take two cuisines or two world cuisines and you kind of blend them together to see what you've got. And we took Indian style curry and we took obviously Italian pasta, and we blended the two together, and the dish was very, very tasty. It was like super tasty. But that dish, I remember specifically how long it took, because we had a train to catch, and we were like on a really tight schedule. We were like, can we get this video completely done before we get this train? And we started cooking it at 9:30, and we finished cooking at 11:30, and made our train for 12:15. So yeah, that was like a 2-hour one. However, some of them take significantly longer than that.
And I think
2 hours is not a lot.
No, it's not a lot.
But bear in mind, that is a fast one.
It's a really fast
Like
dish.
we've shot videos that have taken 5 hours before just
Yeah.
to shoot, and then you have the edit.
You have editing.
You've got the edit
Yeah,
time.
of
You've got
course.
the planning. So I think on average it's about 8 to 10 hours
Yeah.
for a video.
Yeah, and that's like from inception to total completion.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 hours.
But it can go up, and we're starting to change our videos as well, so they've got more of me and Ian in them as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to take even longer.
Yes,
Mhm.
I've tried to make some of those overhead videos, and
Yeah.
we don't have all the right equipment, so that's really important.
Well, if you want any
Yeah.
tips, let us
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
We'll happily help out. We
Oh,
can give you a little
fantastic.
equipment list.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to.
One thing I got was the vertical arm, so that I could hang my camera
Yeah.
Yes.
down.
Very, very
Crucial.
important.
Yeah.
I think the nice thing about having that vertical overhead view is it just removes everything else. It removes distractions, and it makes the person feel like they're cooking the food.
Mhm.
You also kind of make sure the perspective is right, so the hands look like your own hands.
Mm.
Yeah.
A bit like a first-person computer game, that
Sure.
kind of thing.
Very good. Okay, so were you surprised when you started getting millions of viewers?
I mean, when we
Was this the plan? In the business plan?
It was the plan.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's been on the one hand, you could say it's been an overnight success, but I don't think many overnight successes happened overnight. And both Ian and I spent a year working on separate ideas about how we could build something vegan before we came together to make BOSH. And even we were working on BOSH for a solid 6 months before we would have put the first video anywhere.
Mhm.
And not only that, but we brought our 10 years of experience in different fields into that 6 months. So I think there was a lot of effort into making it an overnight success.
Yeah. Good way of putting it.
I'm a singer, and I'm waiting to become an overnight success.
Really.
Well, your
After
singing
all
was
my life.
beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And speaking of singing, just because this is my show and it's all about me, and it's all about food, but it's all about me. I just sang this weekend in a concert for the Leonard Bernstein Centennial. So he
Oh,
was
wow.
born 100 years ago. And there's like
Fantastic.
2,500 concerts going on to celebrate his music and his work.
2,500.
Yeah.
That's a lot of concerts.
Yeah,
A lot of
wow.
concerts. Well, this was like a library concert, and
Okay, cool.
we're doing some more in different libraries. But you know, there were a lot of people that came, and it was wonderful. And I sang this song from Leonard Bernstein's Candide called "Glitter and Be Gay." It's a coloratura song,
Mhm.
and I performed it when I was younger,
Nice.
Wow.
and I sang it. And I just want to say that not everybody who's 60 can sing this song. And there were a few people in the audience that said, "Not many people will do that."
Yeah.
And
Well, is it-
I attribute it to my food.
Good
Nice.
for you.
It's kept my vocal cords kind of clean.
Good.
Well,
Yeah,
you
well,
look fantastic.
Yeah, you do.
There is absolutely no
Aren't they
way.
sweet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is absolutely no way you would say that you were 60 years
No,
old.
but the
Yeah.
point is, this is what 60 looks like.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I don't know, they look like they're not healthy.
You look
Yeah.
great. So well
Thank
done.
you.
Yeah.
This is. We need to go like 30 more years, and hopefully we'll look like shining pillars of health.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. In fact, do you know what? Like, but before going vegan, I had absolutely no preconceptions of the physical benefits that a vegan diet may bring.
No,
Like,
so
and
true.
yeah, like, you know, you start eating a whole plant-based diet, and then all of a sudden you notice, oh, my hair's a bit thicker. Oh, my skin's a bit clearer.
Mm.
Oh, I'm sleeping sounder at night. Oh, I'm going to bed easier and waking up fresher, and like all the weight's dropped off me. Like, had no idea that anything like that was going to happen. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
So how was it for you? Was it about animals or health or the environment?
I was 15 years old,
Okay.
and a guy in school said he was vegetarian, and then all of a sudden, I just like, it was one of those ding.
So you didn't know that was a thing before?
It was, well, nobody was talking about it
Yeah.
back in, well, a long time ago.
Mhm.
And then I realized I don't want to kill animals. It just was obvious. Isn't it obvious, everybody? It was obvious. And so I started on my path to be vegetarian. I wasn't vegetarian right away. I
Yeah.
had a lot of fights with my mom.
Yeah.
And then I was vegetarian. I was still eating fish, and it took a while to get rid of the fish, the scaly vegetable.
Yeah.
Chickens, the feathered vegetable. And then by the time I was 30, I had started reading things. There were actually, this was 1988, and there was the Vegetarian Resource Journal was out, and Vegetarian Times magazine existed here in the United States,
Yeah.
and there was a vegan society in Great Britain.
Which is still going?
Yeah.
Still going
They
strong?
were around for a long time, actually,
Yeah.
way before me. And then realized I had to give up butter and cheese, and I love to cook, and I love making New York style cheesecake and all that stuff. I couldn't imagine doing it, and I actually had a business trip to Israel. I worked as an engineer, and I was going to spend 3 months there, and I decided I'm going to go vegan in Israel. And what's interesting now in Israel is like a major vegan scene.
Yeah, is it like 9% or something like
of
that?
the whole
Yeah.
country.
A large proportion
It
of
was
people.
easy because there's always hummus.
Exactly. And falafel. I mean, those guys know
Falafel
how
and
to
hummus.
make a falafel, right?
So yeah.
Fantastic. And then, so how did you deal with the cheese and the
Do you
butter?
like the way he's like turning this around and asking me the questions?
It's research.
Yeah. Well, for me, now I told you before I had advanced ovarian cancer. So when I eliminated dairy at 30,
Yeah.
a lot of my menstrual symptoms went away.
Wow.
So dairy, and I ate a lot of dairy till I was 30, and I still think that was a whole part of my health issues. But dairy is terrible. It's a hormone soup, and it totally messes up your balance. And you know, they do autopsies on people that die at certain ages, and they find that most women have breast cancer and most men have prostate cancer, and this is all hormone connected.
Wow. So even if they don't know they have it,
No,
it's there.
they have it there.
Yeah. Wow, I did not know
I
that.
didn't know that.
Well, I'll tell you where I heard that. So this is the week of the 7th annual Food Revolution Summit, foodrevolutionsummit.org. And if you haven't been there, visit my website, responsibleeatingandliving.com. There's a link. You can go there and register. It's halfway through. You can still get a lot of great information. And I heard that today, actually. I heard a number of things that I'm going to tell you about.
Okay.
I learned from Dr. William Lee today. Today was the anti-cancer show, so they had 3 speakers talking about foods that fight cancer. And he said, do you know what stem cells are?
Yes, of
So
course.
stem cells are
Yeah.
like these magical little beginning cells that life comes from.
Absolutely. That's all we are at the beginning.
Yeah, stem cells.
Yeah.
And they use stem cells whenever they can to do some major healing. And it's in research right now. We don't even know the power of stem cells. But cancer, when we treat cancer, we kill whatever cancer we can, but it's really hard to get the stem cells.
Right, okay.
And so time can pass and you think you're healed, and all of a sudden the cancer comes back because the stem cells are still there. Well, I learned purple potatoes kill stem cells.
Bad stem cells or all stem
The
cells?
cancer stem cells.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Purple potatoes. Have you had purple potatoes?
We have, yep.
Oh.
We have. In fact, my girlfriend's parents, they like to grow exotic vegetables, and they gave us purple potatoes.
Yeah, super tasty.
The first time I had them, they tasted like donuts.
Yeah.
They don't always taste like donuts, but this time they tasted
They must have been good
like
ones.
donuts.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've blabbled enough. Now let's talk, not enough, but let's talk about the book. It's absolutely stunning. The photos are stunning. The food is stunning, and that's important. You know, in my vegan activism, I like to say that if we want to promote this thing, that as individuals, we need to look the best that we possibly can. It's not about
Yeah.
being pretty or handsome. It's about looking fit and healthy.
Yeah,
And the food's got to look good.
absolutely.
And those two things together, people are going to be like, I want that and I want to look like you. Okay. So I noted a few recipes that I wanted to talk about. The first one is mushroom and Guinness pie.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic, that one. Shall I do this one?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead,
Do you
bro.
know what? That is one of my favorite
I love
recipes.
drinking Guinness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
you know,
like
Guinness
Guinness.
wasn't always vegan.
I know.
Or at least
Yeah,
not in the
that's
United
right.
States.
I celebrated when it went vegan about a year ago,
Yeah.
and we had to get it in there. It's such an amazing pie, that one. It's easy to make because pretty much you just got to get the mushrooms, you get the Guinness, you cook them down a little bit, and then you put a pie crust on top.
Yeah.
But it's so warming. It's perfect for when you have cold weather. Maybe not today,
Yeah.
but it's just such a British pub classic.
Mm-hmm.
I love that recipe.
Perfect with some potatoes.
Perfect with potatoes or chips,
Yeah.
or even minted mushy peas or
Yes.
minted peas would be
Minted mushy
fantastic.
peas.
Yes. So British. It's proper
Cooking with
British.
beer,
that.
any kind of beer, is
Yeah.
really fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one you know is a super popular item. They call it guacamole.
And this is one of Ian's genius creations. I have to give Ian all of the
Guacamole,
credit for
really
this.
neat.
Guacamole, yeah, that was a crazy one. It was like we basically, as I said before about the Indian style pasta, we have a penchant for blending world cuisines, and obviously who doesn't like guacamole and who doesn't like pasta? And
Or macaroni, specifically.
Yeah, macaroni specifically. But yeah, we, initially we were thinking, oh, maybe you could make a like a thin guacamole and turn it into basically like an avocado sauce for spaghetti. But that didn't seem inventive enough, so we kind of thought which pastas it would go with, and we looked at macaroni and we thought, oh, macaroni's good in macaroni and cheese, so surely this is the perfect shaped pasta to go with a creamy guacamole. And then it's like, well, what would you call such a thing? And then you start thinking, it's like, well, it's got to be guacamole.
There's only one answer. I can't believe someone else didn't invent it first.
It was a light bulb moment.
That was a moment of
guacamole.
genius.
It's like, why isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
Like,
now it is a thing.
Yeah, and do you know what? Since we've, as Henry said earlier on, like since we get photographs all the time, we get loads and loads of photographs. But like since we've released that book in the UK, one of the photographs we keep getting again and again and again is guacamole. Yeah, because you can eat it cold. You can like make it the night before, pop it in lunchbox, and have it the next day for your lunch.
It's easy. It's creamy. Also, it's beautiful in terms of colour. It's green. You can put cherry tomatoes in there, and it goes red. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it can be good cold, but I really love cooking with avocado when it's warm. It's a whole different flavor, and nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try more warm avocado dishes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
We've made like a fettuccine with avocado and walnuts tossed. Oh, it's very rich.
Nice.
But
Does
it's
sound
really
amazing.
Really amazing.
Yeah, we got a quick tip for the old avocados. We were lucky enough to spend a bit of time with the CEO of the World Avocado Association about 3 months ago.
He was an interesting character. Avocados are his fruit.
Yeah.
They're his.
World Avocado Association.
Yeah, he was like we did it. So we cooked up. We were invited to make the dessert out of a 3-course meal. 2 other chefs were invited to do the other 2 courses, and we decided to make an avocado brownie, which was really, really good. But the tip isn't about the avocado brownie. The tip is about good guacamole. And I asked this guy. I said, so you know, what tips would you give to make fantastic guacamole? And he said, yellow tomatoes. Use yellow tomatoes because they're sweeter and they have like a slightly softer flesh, and it just works perfectly with the flesh of avocado to make a fantastic guac. So that's a tip from the CEO of the World Avocado Association.
And I bet it helps the color too.
Exactly.
He didn't like it when a red tomato was popping out of ruining the beautiful green of his fruit, as he calls it.
Honestly, he was dressed in a crisp white suit. He had perfectly preened skin, and he was like a Bond villain.
He was like something out of the movies. I mean, everything in New York feels to us like we're in the movies, but this guy was honestly like something out of the movies.
Top, lovely guy though.
Okay, next recipe is the irresistible risotto.
So that's delicious.
It is super delicious.
What boggles my mind is going out into the world and you eat in a restaurant and you may even give them notice, you know, and they'll tell you they can make a risotto, for example. Now, I know risotto, you have to cook it a long time, whatever. But how hard is it to make a vegan risotto? It's not hard.
Not at all. No.
And yet, I've had so many crappy ones. We went to this fine Italian restaurant, and they were like frozen vegetables mixed with rice. It wasn't risotto.
Really
but anyway,
normal.
You have a lovely irresistible risotto.
It is pretty irresistible, that one.
And it's got a lot of green in it.
Oh, so much green. Yeah, that's one thing. My parents, we would go to restaurants as kids, and I would be like, oh, I might try the risotto. And they're like, oh, don't have a risotto. It's really boring. It's just like, it's like a savoury rice pudding. And I was like...
That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
Savoury
like
rice
a savoury rice pudding. And I think a lot of people don't really put much emphasis on what else complements the rice of the risotto. So we went to town with that and got so many veggies in there. It's super healthy for you.
And also, we are big on greens, so we should talk about nutrition at some point. But for us, getting as much green into our diet is a priority every single day. So we'll often wake up in the morning, and it sounds really obvious, and most of your listeners probably do this anyway, but we'll start every day with a green smoothie filled with kale or spinach or chard or whatever we can to make sure we're getting everything we need in our body. And that spring green risotto is a great way to pack yourself full of things like magnesium and iron and just enjoy comforting food, but also get some health in there.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good cold. That you can have
The
that.
risotto?
Make a huge batch of it for dinner, and then have it for lunch the next day as well.
Also looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
What else we got?
It's a beautiful looking thing.
I put up the page here. Page 60. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. Look, everybody, how beautiful that is.
Look at that.
I want to lick the page.
Oh, God.
Okay, now, most of the time, I'm the kind of person that likes to eat one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And I like to really enjoy and concentrate on the flavor of one thing before moving on to the next, which is really frustrating for like my mom or someone who's prepared a dish and they say, what do you think of them? I haven't tried it yet. I'm not there yet. But then sometimes some things look really good together, and the Metze cake is one of those.
There's a funny story behind this one, actually. You remember I said that some recipes take us 5 hours to shoot?
Yeah.
That one is
sure.
That's probably the single longest shoot we ever did for one recipe.
Yeah.
I think the inspiration for that dish came from a guy we know called Jamie, and he challenged us to make a lasagna that involved falafel. So we were kind of thinking, how could we get those Middle Eastern flavors into something that was all packed together? And it was fairly early on in the journey. It was probably the 30th or 40th recipe that we ever shot. Yeah. And the inspiration was very simple, layered veggies, a bit of rice, and let's put a layer of falafel over the top. We're going to bake that down. And of course, it's filled with delicious flavors like hummus.
Hummus makes a great frosting.
Yeah, like tapenade is in there. You've also got sun-dried tomatoes. It's a fantastic dish. It takes a long time to create, but then you get this beautiful concoction. And the most important thing is every single bite of every slice of this cake tastes like all of the amazing flavors of a Middle Eastern restaurant in every bite.
I'm thinking of, I don't know what made me think of this, but Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where the little girl is chewing the gum and she's going...
Veruca Salt.
Right. Thinking of all the flavors she's getting out of the gum. Okay, never mind.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And cake should be a celebration. I suppose that's like a celebration of vegetables, because you can dress it however. Look at how beautiful that is on the top, right? You can go to town with the decoration.
Have you ever put candles in one?
No.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, we definitely should do that.
Birthday meze cake.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why not?
And by the way, that recipe has had about at least 5-6 million views online.
Oh my goodness.
It's one of our biggest food videos ever.
Okay, the one that I want to try, just because it looks like really fun to make, is the spiral tart.
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes. Now that probably requires a lot of zen.
It requires a really sharp mandolin.
We had a bit of a we had a little bit of a tiff while we were shooting this video. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I had to go for a walk. Ian was the one creating it, and it took so long and it was so difficult. Yeah. And at that point, we were still learning our craft, so sometimes tensions got high, and I just went for a little walk and left him crafting this masterpiece.
Yeah, the video it took a long time to shoot, but do you know what? This is absolutely a labour of love. Like if you've got a spare half an hour to sort of mandolin all the vegetables and to sort of build it out into this beautiful sort of swirly, spirally tart, it's absolutely completely worth it. And you can introduce some really nice flavours into the bottom as well, because you line your pie dish with your pastry, and then I think on this recipe we put tomato sauce at the bottom.
We have tomato at the bottom with a tiny hint of chili.
That's it. But you could quite easily do something else,
pesto would work great.
Pesto would work perfectly with this. And then we do carrots and zucchini and eggplant. But again, you could probably be experimental with the things that you use. But yeah, it's a super, super nice dish.
And it just looks so beautiful.
So had you made it before you filmed it?
No. That one we just thought, right, this is how you do it. Let's go to town and film it from the off.
We at the beginning, for about the first, I'd say 6 months, we tended to shoot and test at the same time. Yeah. And if they didn't work, we would reshoot. But we've got to the point now where we'll test every single recipe that we put online as a video. Will get tested at least twice. And that book, we've tested every recipe in there 5, 6, 7 times. It also, there are very big differences in terms of recipe books and the kind of quality that you get. So if you go for the big chefs, they'll have tested a lot of times to make sure it's perfect. But often smaller chefs or smaller blogs might not have the time or the budget to do that. And one thing that's really worth saying about this book is it's been through big chef level testing. So
Oh.
every recipe in there is bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to show another just stunning photo. This is the
There you go.
the Bosch Wellington,
Oh yes.
and you've got the roasted vegetables and
Yep.
some greens there. I don't know what the greens are.
We're from a small-ish city in England called Sheffield, and Sheffield is in the county of Yorkshire. And in Yorkshire, roast dinners are a big deal. So we absolutely needed to put a banging roast dinner in this book.
This is the kind of thing you would eat for Thanksgiving or Christmas. If
Yeah.
you didn't want to eat a bird or something, then which we don't, then this is perfect. And it's so delicious that any meat eaters at the table will definitely be taking your food.
Mm-hmm.
It's stunning, but I want to talk too about the roasted vegetables and potatoes because we make them a lot, and they're like the simplest thing to do.
Yeah.
And then you've got them all in your Dutch oven or whatever you cook them in, and then you bring it out, and they're all caramelized and just fantastic,
And nice and crispy.
and so comforting and satisfying. I love, and
Yeah.
people don't talk enough about roast vegetables, in
No.
my opinion.
What's your favourite roast vegetable?
Well, so I like a bunch of things, like the onion when it's roasted gets all caramelized.
Yeah.
Good point.
And potatoes and sweet potatoes. I'm not big on parsnips.
Oh, I do love a good parsnip.
yeah.
I like it mixed in things,
Yeah,
but not
okay.
alone. It's just me.
Yeah.
That's
What
fine.
am I missing here?
Garlic.
Oh, garlic.
Just
Yeah.
when you get a little piece of garlic that's
Oh,
been roasting
yeah,
away
yeah.
for like 45 minutes.
That's like
it's incredible.
the bonus.
Butternut squash.
And it gets all gooey.
It's so the bonus. You can just suck it out. Can't you? It's fantastic.
Okay,
the
we
browner
love
the better.
We love food. So, okay, we're talking the hour away about food. So you have a selection of hummus. There should always be hummus. Hummus is hummus. Many different flavored hummuses because they're easy to make and they're delicious and everyone loves them.
Yeah.
And then you've got some vegetable maki. And I want to say that maki is not an easy thing to photograph.
No.
And this picture looks kind of nice.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that is beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So while we're here, and I'm looking at the maki, what I want to ask you is, you're here in New York City. Have you been here before?
Yeah, we were here in October, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
Where have you been eating, and where do you plan on eating?
It's
Do
a
you know-
funny story.
Have
there,
you been to
actually.
Beyond Sushi down the street?
We have.
Oh.
That was
Yeah.
the last time we came
Okay.
here. We went to Beyond Sushi. Oh my goodness, they are genius.
He's not a chef, that guy. He's an artist.
Yes.
Like, straight up. Like,
Yeah.
that food just looks unbelievable. You just look at it. I don't want to eat that.
Right.
I want to pop it on my mantelpiece at home.
With the beautiful
Yeah,
colors on top
amazing.
of each piece.
We actually shot a video while we were there, so a little bit of a food review, which is going to be coming soon on Bosch.
Oh, coming
so
soon.
we have
Yeah.
done Beyond Sushi, but this trip has been focused on burgers. So we're actually doing a video about burgers where we wanted to sample all of New York's finest vegan burgers.
Are you going to Marty Vegan, Flying Marty's Vegan Burger?
Should we?
Yeah.
Maybe
Where-
that's
where-
straight
where
after
is
this
that?
then.
Where
I
is
think he's down in the 20s, but he was a pilot,
Okay.
retired, vegan. And it's just a little place, but
Oh, nice.
Flying Marty's Vegan Burger. I think he uses a Beyond Burger now.
Okay.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, just this morning, before we came to see you guys, we nipped into a little diner in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, called Champs.
Of course,
have you heard of that?
You must
Yeah.
know it. of
Oh my
course.
God! Their food. First and foremost, the three ladies that we were chatting to are all legends. We love them. We had such a great conversation, and we're so well aligned with so many of our values. But the food that they made today was nothing short of astonishing.
World class.
Yeah, it was just world class.
We've also sampled the Superiority Burger,
Yeah, that was
which
just-
we heard was the finest burger
Yes.
in America. And then
What did you think?
We thought it was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like what they've done with pure plants is very, very impressive. But before that, we went to sample the other end of the spectrum, which was White Castle and their new Impossible Slider, because we wanted to see what White Castle did with that.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was another shout out to the Superiority Burger. That little, the way that they operate, it was so exciting to sort of stand there at the counter and watch all the chefs just like in broad daylight, just operating so
It is
swiftly.
a tiny
Yeah.
hole in the wall.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
It's
Love
so
that
New
stuff.
York, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like tiny space, but very cool and very high quality product.
Exactly.
Have you been to Blossom?
No.
No.
Oh, my partner Gary, he loves the Blossom Burger.
Okay.
Again, is that Manhattan or?
Yes.
Over, okay.
So there are They have a bunch of restaurants. The one we go to is up on Columbus Avenue on the Upper West Side.
What time are we leaving today?
After Blossom, obviously.
Right, okay, cool. Yeah.
And then PS Kitchen, they
Oh,
have
yes.
a Beyond Burger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big shout out
And
to
they
those
make
guys.
they make it pretty greasy.
Yeah.
We loved those.
Yeah.
That place is
The
fantastic.
food was great, but the ethos of that place is fantastic as well. Because if I remember correctly, they employ people who were down on their luck before.
It's ex-convicts, so they
Yeah.
employ ex-convicts, and all of the profits go towards helping ex-convicts get rehabilitated into society, which
And,
is fantastic.
Like the food that we had on the last trip in October, that was some of the best food we had. It was really, really good. Like, fair play to those guys. Love that kind of.
we also shot a video there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did,
Have
yeah.
you been to any of the candles?
No.
Oh my goodness! Now, okay, whether you have a burger or not, you have to go to one of them.
Okay.
I mean,
deal.
you just have to.
It sounds like we're going to have
They've
to come
won
back.
they've won the most awards.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've been doing it since the early '90s,
Candles.
I think. And the owner, there's Candle Cafe,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
is the first one, which is it's in between 74th and 75th on 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
Cool.
Then there's Candle 79. It's more upscale. It's on 79th and
Mhm.
Lexington on the east side, both on the east side. Then on the west side,
Yeah.
by 89th and 90th Street on Broadway is Candle West. And you must go there.
Yeah,
we
we must.
absolutely will. It sounds
They-
like we should take notes of the next
No, you
places
have
to
to.
go.
I mean,
yeah.
that is you can't not go there,
Yeah.
and that's the best.
Oh, it's such a shame we're going back tonight.
I know.
Oh no, you're leaving tonight.
Yeah.
Every
we
And
got
then
time-
I
red
would
eye.
say you should come over and eat at our house because
Yeah.
we make amazing.
We'll
Well-
do that on the next trip. Hopefully that'll be really soon.
Fingers crossed.
But I just want to say that the owners of the Candles, Joy Pearson and Bart Potenza, are beautiful, beautiful people. I think Bart just turned 80.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
And
That's
they're
so cool.
just energetic, lovely. I can't say enough wonderful things about them.
Yeah,
And,
we'll have to
and
go.
you feel that in the restaurants. But
It-
you feel that in a lot of vegan restaurants.
Yeah.
So,
The
so
love.
a question for you that's relevant then to the burgers is, what's your perfect American burger?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my partner Gary, he's more the burger boy than
Yeah.
I am. You know, the guy thing, the burgers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And because I've been a vegan for so long, I'm not looking for something that tastes like
Yeah.
chopped meat or flesh.
Mhm.
And we've actually created a burger that I really like, which is made with it's a combination of grains. It's got red rice, black rice, millet, and a Tyrannicum, which is also called kamut. And then a bunch of flavors, and I
Yeah.
find it has a really nice texture and
Yeah.
holds up really nicely. And then, you know, to me, a burger's all about the bun and the schmears and the goo and
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
that
yeah.
goes with it. So you have a nice chipotle mayo or something that you can make or buy, and the tomato and the lettuce
With
and
just
the
that
good
bit of
bun.
kick of spice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes it.
Yeah, definitely. But the guys from Champs were saying the same thing, weren't they?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yes. It was McKenna.
Yeah. head
And
chef.
that's exactly what she would put on hers was chipotle
Oh,
mayo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There you go. You and McKenna are aligned
Kindred
spirits. Yeah.
Yeah.
whoever that is.
She is the head chef at Champs.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there
okay,
you go.
right.
You're with
Okay,
good.
hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're together on that.
You are.
All right. Well, we just have like 2-3 minutes left.
Wow, time has
Wow,
flown
yeah, it's
really
Time
quickly.
flies.
Really
I
great
want to
chatting
ask
to
some
you.
silly questions.
Go for it.
I've got 4 minutes. Okay. A couple of things I noticed in your book. When you talk about the appliances and tools and things you need, you didn't mention that people need a rice cooker, and you talk about how to make rice. And I don't understand what the big thing is about making rice, and you talk about how easy it is. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
What is it?
Do you know? So my dad gave me a recipe when I was really young. It's one of the finest recipes he's given me, I think,
Yeah.
apart from the paella, which is also in our book.
No, that's a
But
damn good
it's-
pie.
It's very simply, you get the water up to the boil, you put in a 2-to-1 ratio of water to rice, you have the water boiling, you pour it in, put the lid on the top, and then turn it down as low as it can go, and you give it 12 minutes, and then you turn it off, leave it to sit for a bit. Now, some
Yeah.
people go 10 minutes rather than 12 minutes, but that just works every single time.
Yeah.
But I think if you didn't be lucky enough to have my father to give you that equation, then it is, I guess, easy to burn it if you have too much water. But yeah, we don't really use rice cookers.
No, we don't. No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no rice cooker.
So if you're listening and you don't know how to cook rice, that works perfectly.
Yeah.
And don't worry about it.
The other
Yeah.
thing you don't have is an Instant Pot.
What's an Instant Pot?
Is that like a crock pot? So is it a really slow cooker? It's like a slow
I'm
cooker.
I'm not into pressure cooking. It's a pressure cooker.
Oh, a
Okay.
pressure
And
cooker.
I mean, a lot of people swear by them. And the Instant Pot is from Canada, and it's quite the trending rage.
Okay.
Especially for people who don't like to take too long cooking things because things are quick. But, you know, I love to cook, and I've never really felt a need for it. And maybe one day when I discover it, it'll be great. But
No,
I don't know.
we're with you on that. I don't think we need it. And also, I guess that might be great for making a big batch of stock or for making an amazing casserole. But for us, like, we want to make it easy for everyone. And most people don't have stuff like that in their kitchen.
Exactly.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Just as long as you've got a knife, a chopping board, and a pan, you're basically away.
Yeah. You'd be surprised sometimes at how little the average person would have in their kitchen.
Yeah, that's true.
Even a food processor is something a lot of people don't own.
Yeah.
wow. Well, I've had fun.
Yes.
So have
us
we.
too.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
I'm
me.
hungry now.
I'm so hungry, and we're probably going to go to Beyond Sushi next.
Great.
Ian Thiesby and Henry Firth, thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much for
coming
having
in.
us.
I'm so excited just looking at you
Yeah.
and having you on this show.
That's
It's been a
Yes.
pleasure.
Yes, and best of luck to you. So the book is released today in the United States. Bosch.
Bosh.
Woo!
Bosch. Bish, bash, Bosch.
That's the one.
And go to Bosch TV. There's just so much fun at that website. All right, so I guess I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm Karen Hartglass. You've been listening to It's All About Food. Visit my website, responsibleeatingandliving.com. And don't forget to check out the Food Revolution Summit because it goes until Sunday and there's just so much going on there. Okay, everybody, have a delicious week. Bye. Bye.